I never thought life could feel this perfect. Emily curled up next to me on the couch, her head resting on my shoulder, and I felt like nothing could ever go wrong. I can't believe we've been together 5 years, I murmured, tracing circles on her hand. Time flies when you're having fun, she said, smiling but a little too briefly. There was a flicker in her eyes, a shadow I couldn't place. Are you okay? I asked, tilting my head to look at her. Of course, she said, brushing my worry off like it was nothing. Why wouldn't I be? But that night, when she thought I wasn't looking, her phone lit up. She glanced at it, then tucked it under the pillow. I pretended not to notice, but something twisted in my stomach. The next morning, I ran into Alex at work. New guy. Tall, confident, that kind of smile that seems too practiced to be honest. Hey, you must be Mark, he said, extending a hand. I've heard a lot about you from the team. Nice to meet you, I said, shaking his hand firmly. Welcome aboard. He leaned back, scanning the room, then added, and Emily, right? She mentioned you once. I froze. You know Emily? He shrugged. We met at a conference last month. She's impressive. He smiled just a little too knowingly. Lucky guy, huh? Yeah, I muttered, trying to hide my unease. Later, Emily called me, voice lighter than usual. Dinner tonight? Sure, I said, but I felt that shadow again. At the restaurant, she was quiet. Too quiet. She picked at her salad, staring into space. Something on your mind? I asked. Emily sighed. I've been thinking about our future. I raised an eyebrow. Thinking how? Well, her fingers twisted the napkin. It's just. I don't know if we're heading in the same direction. What are you talking about? My heart started to hammer. We've been planning the apartment, the wedding, everything. I know, she said softly. I sometimes wonder if we're really right for each other. You know. Life changes. I blinked. Emily, we've been together 5 years. We love each other. She looked away. Maybe love isn't enough. I laughed nervously. What does that mean? She hesitated. Some people, they need more stability. Security. I don't know if we can give each other that. I wanted to reach across the table and shake her. Emily, what are you saying? She smiled faintly. I'm just thinking out loud. Don't take it the wrong way. I nodded, but my chest tightened. Something was off. A week later, Alex showed up at a company event. I saw him talking to Emily, and there was a familiarity, a comfort, that made my stomach churn. He laughed at something she said, leaning closer than necessary. I tried to tell myself it was innocent. But when Emily joined me later, I couldn't ignore the tension. You two seem close, I said carefully. Close, she laughed, but it didn't reach her eyes. We're just friends, Mark. Friends, I echoed. Something about the way she said it didn't match the word. That night, she sent me a text, we need to talk. I met her at our usual cafe. She sipped her coffee, looking hesitant. Mark. I've been thinking, she began. I leaned forward. Yes. She swallowed. Maybe someone else could offer me what I need. What? My voice caught in my throat. Someone else? Her eyes flicked down. It's not that I don't care about you. I do. I really do. But, some people are better suited, financially, emotionally. It's complicated. I felt my world tilt. You're saying, you're leaving me for money. It's not just money, she said quickly. It's opportunity. Stability. I'm sorry if this hurts. I wanted to scream, cry, beg, anything. But I didn't. I just nodded, my throat tight, my hands shaking. Mark, she reached for my hand. I pulled away. I need time, I whispered. She nodded, but there was no remorse in her eyes, only a calm certainty that shattered me. Walking home, I kept replaying her words, the way she smiled while delivering the knife. And somewhere deep inside, a fire ignited. I didn't know what it would become yet, anger, revenge, survival, but I knew one thing, my life had just changed forever. And I wasn't sure if I would ever forgive her. I thought I was imagining things. Emily's phone kept lighting up in the middle of the night, and she would step out of the room to take calls. At first, I told myself it was work. Emily, who keeps calling you so late? I asked one night. Oh, just clients, she said, smiling as she tucked the phone under the pillow. Nothing to worry about. Clients, huh? I tried to keep my tone casual, but something in her voice didn't match her eyes. Working late again? She shrugged. Yeah, busy season. Her fingers drummed on the table. You worry too much. I did worry. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. Her sudden interest in expensive clothes, dinners, and vacations I couldn't afford made my stomach twist. Emily, how do we afford all this? I asked one night, holding up the credit card statement. She gave a little laugh. Relax, Mark. Don't be so dramatic. I've got it covered. Covered? Since when do we have this much extra money? Since I decided we deserve nice things, she said lightly. Don't overthink it. But I couldn't stop thinking. At work, I vented to Jason, pacing our small office space. You look like hell, man, Jason said, sipping his coffee. What's going on? It's Emily, I said, throwing my hands up. She's different. Secretive. She's hiding something, Jason. Jason leaned back. Different how? Come on, talk straight. She takes calls and hides them. She's spending money we don't have. I don't know, she's slipping away from me. Jason frowned. Are you sure it's not just stress? Or maybe you're reading too much into things. I don't know, I admitted. But something feels wrong. I can't explain it, but I feel like I'm losing her. You've gotta trust your instincts, man. Don't ignore the signs, Jason said firmly. You deserve honesty. That night, Emily returned home later than usual. I was sitting in the living room, pretending to watch TV, but I noticed her hesitation at the door. Hey, you're late, I said lightly. She smiled, a little too casually. Traffic was horrible. Traffic? I raised an eyebrow. You usually leave at the same time every day. No traffic then. She laughed nervously. You're imagining things, Mark. I left a little later, that's all. I felt a pit in my stomach. Her laughter didn't reach her eyes. Over the next few days, it became worse. She'd disappear for hours without explanation. Calls from unknown numbers, messages deleted before I could see them. Every time I brought it up, she deflected with charm. You're being paranoid, she said one afternoon. I told you, don't overthink it. Emily, I'm not paranoid. I snapped, my voice trembling. Something's going on, and you're hiding it. She reached for my hand. Mark, please, trust me. I'm not hiding anything bad. I pulled away, feeling a mix of anger and doubt. Was I imagining this? Could I really be reading too much into her behavior? By Friday, she was gone for the entire weekend. No call, no text. I called her phone. Straight to voicemail. I drove to her apartment, but she wasn't there. I even checked with our neighbors, no sign. Panicking, I called Jason. She's gone. All weekend. I can't reach her. I don't know where she is. Whoa, slow down, Jason said calmly. Have you tried calling her friends? I can't. She's acting like I don't exist. Something's wrong, Jason. I know it. Jason's voice softened. Mark. I know it hurts, but you need to stay calm. Think logically. There has to be an explanation. Maybe she's staying with a friend. I don't think it's that simple, I muttered, pacing. She's changed. I feel it. Everything feels different. She's not the Emily I know. Jason sighed. Look, I hate to say it, but maybe she's hiding something serious. You can't ignore it forever. Keep your head, but watch carefully. I hung up, my hands shaking. Every memory of her, the laughter, the late-night talks, the promises, felt like a knife twisting. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone, willing her to call. Hoping she'd come back with an explanation that made sense. But deep down, I knew the feeling in my gut wasn't paranoia. Something was coming, something I wasn't ready for. And for the first time, I realized that my perfect life was slipping away, and I might not be able to stop it. I never thought I'd see them together. Not like this. I walked past the high-end restaurant downtown, the one Emily had suggested for a special dinner with a friend. My stomach twisted the moment I saw her, sitting across from Alex. He was leaning close, laughing at something she said, and her hand rested lightly on his arm. I froze. Mark, her voice called out behind me. I turned slowly, trying to keep my face neutral. Emily. She smiled, warm, practiced, like nothing was wrong. But her eyes were different. They didn't belong to me anymore. Hey, fancy running into you here, she said lightly. I clenched my fists. I could say the same. Who's your friend? Alex stood, extending a hand with that infuriating charm. I'm Alex. Emily talks about you a lot. I barely looked at him. Right. Emily laughed nervously, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Mark, I can explain. Explain. My voice broke slightly, and I hated how it sounded. Explain what? That you're sitting here holding hands with him. It's not like that, she protested, though her grip on Alex's hand lingered a second too long. It's exactly like that, I said, my chest tightening. You're cheating on me. With him? Emily's eyes flicked down. Mark. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. You didn't mean. I laughed bitterly. You didn't mean to ruin my life. To destroy everything we built. Alex stepped in smoothly. Mark, Stay out of it, I snapped, spinning to Emily. You're the one I trusted. 5 years, Emily. 5 years of my life, and this is how you repay me. I'm sorry, she said softly, almost gentle. That was worse. I didn't plan to fall for him, but he offers things you can't. Stability, a future. What? Stability? You mean money, right? My voice cracked. You're leaving me for him because he's richer. It's not just money, she said quickly, but I saw the truth in her eyes. It's a life I couldn't have with you. I thought about us, and I realized I can't give you what you deserve either. It's not fair to either of us. Not fair. I repeated, my hands trembling. You've already made it fair by betraying me. How could you? She reached for my arm. Please, Mark, don't make this worse than it is. I still care about you. Care. I laughed bitterly. Care. You sit here, smiling at him, and call that care. Alex cleared his throat. Mark, look, I don't want to fight. I really don't. Fight? I turned on him. Fight? You don't get it. You're part of the reason my world just collapsed. Emily's voice was calm now. Too calm. Mark. I've made my choice. I'm with Alex. I'm sorry. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. So, that's it. You're leaving me, for him. Just like that. She nodded once. Yes. I'm sorry. I wish things were different. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. Different? You think saying that makes it different? You think apologizing erases what you've done? I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered. Didn't want to hurt me? I shouted, my voice shaking. You've destroyed my life. You've humiliated me. I broke off, unable to form the words. Alex stepped closer. Mark, I know this isn't easy. But you have to understand. Understand? I turned on him, my eyes burning. There's nothing to understand. You stole everything from me. Emily tried again. Mark, please. Don't do this in public. Don't do this. I laughed hollowly. Don't do this. I don't care who sees. Everyone needs to know what you are. I felt a storm inside me, anger, disbelief, heartbreak, all colliding. I wanted to scream, to cry, to hit something. Instead, I swallowed hard and forced myself to breathe. Emily, after everything, you choose him. I said quietly, the words like knives. Yes, she said simply. No hesitation, no remorse. I turned away, my hands shaking. Fine. Go ahead. Have your better life. But don't expect me to stay broken. Don't expect me to disappear quietly. Her lips parted, like she wanted to argue, but she didn't. Alex's hand rested lightly on her back, guiding her. I watched them walk away, the restaurant lights reflecting off her hair, her smile still faintly warm. But it wasn't for me anymore. I sank to the sidewalk, heart pounding, hands gripping my knees. My mind raced. Rage. Pain. Humiliation. How could someone I trusted, loved, devoted myself to, betray me like this? Somewhere deep down, a cold determination took root. I wouldn't let this define me. I wouldn't let her or him, Alex, control the rest of my life. I whispered to myself, hoarse and raw, I'll show them. I'll rise. And one day, they'll regret this. They'll wish they never crossed me. And for the first time since that night, amid the hurt and the betrayal, I felt a flicker of something else, power. Not revenge yet, not fully. But the fire had started. I spent days hiding from the world, avoiding calls, messages, even friends. The apartment felt empty, and so did I. Every time I thought of Emily, my chest tightened. But after a week, I realized hiding wasn't helping. Jason barged into my apartment without knocking, like he always did. Dude, you're turning into a hermit. What's going on? I'm fine, I mumbled, staring at the wall. You're not fine. I can see it. Seriously, Mark, you look like a zombie. I need time, I said, barely meeting his eyes. Jason flopped onto the couch. Time, huh? You mean to sulk while Emily flaunts her new life? Trust me, man, that won't make you feel better. I clenched my jaw. I can't just pretend nothing happened. She left me, for him. Yeah, I know. And it sucks. Big time, Jason said, nodding solemnly. But sulking won't get you anywhere. You need a plan. A plan? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Yep. Career, fitness, life. You want to prove something? Do it for yourself first. I rubbed my temples. I don't even know where to start. Start small, he said. Gym. New projects at work. Reconnect with people who actually care about you. Build your life while she's busy showing off with Mr. Moneybags. I scoffed, but a tiny spark of determination flickered. You make it sound easy. It's not easy, but it's better than crying into your cereal every morning, he said, grinning. Trust me, cereal doesn't solve heartbreak. I laughed, a short, bitter laugh. All right. I'll try. But what if she keeps flaunting it? Jason leaned forward. Good. Let her. Let her see you rise. That sting. That's fuel. Don't waste it feeling small. The next few weeks were brutal. I forced myself into early mornings, hitting the gym even when my body ached. I took on extra projects at work, staying late to prove my worth, not to her, but to myself. Every glance at Emily's social media felt like a punch, yet I used it to push harder. One evening, I called Jason, exhausted. I don't know if I can keep this up. It's like, everywhere I look, she's there, showing off. Jason chuckled. Mark, that's called life. You can't hide forever. You want revenge? Start by being better than her, not bitter. Everything else falls into place. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. I guess. I never realized how much I let myself rely on her. On us. Maybe I was weak. Not weak, Jason corrected. Just human. But now. Now you've got the chance to be unstoppable. I spent nights reflecting on everything. 5 years, all the plans, the promises. And yet, here I was, broken. But broken didn't have to mean defeated. I could rebuild. Smarter, stronger, sharper. Emily continued her public displays, dinners at fancy restaurants, trips she couldn't have afforded with me, photos with Alex smiling at her every word. I wanted to scream at her through the screen. But I didn't. I smiled, just a little, and thought, one day, she'll wish she hadn't underestimated me. I started reaching out to colleagues I'd barely known, networking more aggressively. I discovered talents I'd neglected, coding, presentations, even negotiation skills I didn't know I had. Every new achievement, every compliment, became a small victory. One night, Jason stopped by again. Mark, you're looking different. Not just fit, but confident. You're actually glowing. I feel different, I admitted, watching my reflection in the window. Like I'm not lost anymore. I'm building something that's mine. Exactly, Jason said, clapping me on the back. And trust me, when she sees it, she'll notice. But by then, you won't care what she thinks. I nodded, a slow smile spreading. I think I understand now. It's not about punishing her. It's about proving to myself that I'm worth more than what she decided I was. Jason raised an eyebrow. Look at you, philosopher of heartbreak. I knew you had it in you. I laughed, genuinely this time. Yeah. I guess I do. And as I lay in bed that night, exhausted but alive, I realized something. Emily's betrayal hurt, but it didn't define me. I could take this pain and turn it into something better. Smarter. Stronger. And maybe, just maybe, one day, she'd see what she'd lost. But that wasn't my focus anymore. My focus was me. My life. My growth. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I was finally taking control. I hardly recognized myself in the mirror that morning. New suit, sharper haircut, a confidence I hadn't felt in months. I ran a hand over my tie and smiled. Not bad, Mark, I muttered. Jason burst in without warning, grinning like an idiot. Dude. You actually look intimidating. I like it. Thanks, I said, tying the knot tighter. It's amazing what a little focus and hard work can do. Jason smirked. Hard work, huh? Or revenge disguised as ambition? I laughed, a low, confident laugh. Maybe a bit of both. But mostly, me reclaiming my life. The promotion had come through last week. Bigger office, better pay, and most importantly, respect I hadn't felt before. I'd spent nights learning, networking, and proving myself. Every compliment from colleagues now felt like a small victory. "Mark, your presentation today." Jason nudged me. "You crushed it. People actually listened." "Good," I said. "I want them to see I'm more than I was. More than anyone thought I could be." That evening, the gala arrived. I scanned the crowd, composed, calm. And there she was, Emily, draped in designer silk, laughter echoing across the ballroom. Alex was at her side, whispering something that made her smile in that familiar way, the way she used to look at me. I took a deep breath. Time to see how confident I've become. Jason leaned beside me. "Ready for the show?" I smirked. "Always." I approached Emily, hands steady, heart racing under the surface. "Emily," I said casually, voice smooth. She looked up, surprise flickering across her face. "Mark, you look different." "Thank you," I said lightly, letting my smile linger just long enough to unsettle her. "You're radiant as always." She hesitated, glancing at Alex, who was pretending to sip champagne but clearly watching. "Oh, thank you. I mean, we've just been busy." "Yes, busy," I echoed, eyes scanning the room, catching colleagues who greeted me with admiration, smiles, and nods of respect. The contrast was subtle but powerful. Emily's gaze flicked back to me. You've changed a lot. Your work, it's impressive." I shrugged, pretending modesty. "Just focusing on the right things. Hard work pays off, I guess." Her lips pressed into a thin line. I could feel the insecurity creeping in, just the tiniest crack in her polished facade. "You seem very confident," she said softly, almost questioning. "I've learned that confidence comes from knowing your worth," I said smoothly. "Something I think we both had to figure out the hard way." Emily's eyes narrowed ever so slightly. "Yes. I suppose." I glanced at Alex, who was trying to look composed but fidgeted just enough for me to notice. I smiled inwardly. Patience. Timing. Everything has to be perfect. Jason nudged me again. "See? You're already doing damage without saying much." I whispered, "Good. Let her feel it, without me lifting a finger. Let her notice she's no longer in control." The night went on. I mingled, laughed, charmed colleagues, and subtly dropped mentions of my new projects, trips, and even small successes. Every word, every story, carried the weight of accomplishment. I could see Emily's posture stiffen with each passing moment, her smile faltering just slightly whenever someone praised me. At one point, she whispered to Alex. He's doing so well." I didn't realize. I caught the words, like a knife slicing through old wounds, but now I felt no pain, only satisfaction. The seeds of doubt and envy were planted. Later, Jason leaned close. "Mark, she's looking at you differently now. That's power, my friend. You're in control." I nodded. "Control, yes. But I won't rush anything. Let the plan unfold naturally. My wedding, that's when the final act begins." Emily approached again, clearly trying to regain composure. "Mark, I didn't mean for things to turn out this way. I hope you're happy." I smiled, careful to keep it subtle. "I am," I said. "Happier than I've ever been. You should try it sometime. Focus on yourself. On what you truly deserve." She flinched at my tone, a subtle recognition of her misjudgment. I hope we can at least be friendly," she ventured, still trying to maintain control. Perhaps, I said lightly. But right now, I'm enjoying being in a space where I don't have to worry about anyone else's mistakes. Don't worry, Emily, life has a way of balancing itself. I watched her glance at Alex again, now unsure, noticing cracks in the picture-perfect life she thought she'd built. I said nothing more. Words weren't necessary. My presence, my success, my calm composure, those were the loudest statements. Jason caught my eye from across the room. He raised a glass. I raised mine back silently. That night, I left the gala feeling lighter, stronger, and more certain than ever. Emily had shown the first real signs of doubt, and I had begun planting the seeds that would bloom later. The power had shifted. And when the day came, the day of my wedding, I would be ready. Ready to show her, and Alex, exactly who I had become. I was no longer the man who had been betrayed. I was the man who would rise above it all. I adjusted my cufflinks and took a deep breath. Today was the day. The day I stepped into a life I had built for myself, stronger, happier, untouchable. Sophia squeezed my hand, smiling up at me. Are you ready? More than I've ever been, I said, tightening my grip. Her eyes sparkled. You look amazing, Mark. Calm, confident, like a man who knows his worth. I smiled, feeling the weight of the past lift. That's exactly how it should feel. The ceremony hall gleamed under crystal chandeliers, flowers perfectly arranged, guests murmuring softly. And then, I saw her, Emily. Her eyes widened as she entered with Alex at her side, both stopping dead when they noticed me standing at the altar, Sophia at my side. Her mouth opened, then closed. I could see the disbelief, the sudden fear. Mark, what? Her voice trembled, a sharp contrast to the controlled Emily I once knew. I didn't answer. Words weren't necessary. My calm, composed demeanor spoke volumes. I caught Sophia's hand, feeling warmth and certainty. Emily's eyes darted to Sophia. Who is she? She's my fiancé, I said lightly, keeping my voice even. Sophia and we're getting married. Emily's hand flew to her mouth. But. I thought. You thought I'd be broken forever. I finished for her. I thought I'd sulk, let life pass me by while you flaunted your choices. I gave you that power once. Not anymore. Alex stepped forward, jaw tight. Mark, this isn't what you planned, right? You're supposed to. I ignored him, eyes never leaving Sophia. Alex, I've planned nothing for you. Today is about me and the woman I love. Emily's lips trembled. You moved on, so fast. I arched an eyebrow, smiling just enough to sting. Not fast. Thoughtfully. I spent the last months rebuilding my life, physically, emotionally, financially. I focused on myself. Her hands clutched her purse like a lifeline. And, you're happy. I am, I said, voice calm, steady. Happier than I've ever been. You know why? She swallowed hard. Why? Because I finally realized my worth. And I didn't need anyone to validate it. Not you. Not Alex. Not anyone. Emily staggered back slightly, her composure slipping. I didn't mean. I didn't know. I shook my head, almost gently. You didn't know. That's what hurts the most. You thought I'd wait, you thought I'd beg, you thought I'd let betrayal define me. But look around, Emily. I didn't. Sophia squeezed my hand, sensing my restraint. Mark has grown so much. Look at him. Emily's eyes narrowed. She's just, perfect. And you're. I don't understand. I smiled, softly this time, a smile of triumph, not cruelty. You don't need to understand. It wasn't for you to see. Today is my happiness, my life. Alex's voice rose, a mixture of anger and disbelief. Mark, come on, don't do this here. Don't humiliate us, her. I cut him off, calm, unshaken. Humiliate? No, Alex. You're seeing karma in motion. I didn't plan this for you. I didn't plan it for her. I planned it for me. Emily's face paled. Karma? You're speaking like this. Yes, I said softly, letting each word land. And if you'll notice, I don't even need to act. I don't need to shout or scheme. I simply chose my life, my love, and my happiness. And here I am. She looked around, eyes darting between the guests, all of whom regarded me with admiration and respect. They all, how? I worked, I said simply. I grew. I focused. And I stopped waiting for someone else to decide my worth. Emily's lips quivered. I never realized. I thought You thought you could replace me, I said, voice calm but firm. And maybe, you succeeded in breaking my heart. For a moment. But you didn't succeed in destroying me. Sophia leaned closer. Mark has always had the strength. He just needed the right reason to claim it. I looked at Emily one last time. Her confident mask was gone, replaced with doubt, fear, and regret. Alex glanced at me nervously, realizing he wasn't the prize I had been, they never were. I took Sophia's hand and turned to the officiant. We're ready, I said, voice steady, heart full. Emily's eyes followed us as we began the ceremony. I didn't speak to her again, didn't look back. The warmth of Sophia's hand, the joy in her eyes, the life I had carved for myself, this was my victory. No words of revenge, no dramatic confrontation. Just me, standing strong, radiant, untouchable. The life Emily had taken for granted was now mine in every sense. And watching her disbelief, watching Alex's frustration, watching karma unfold naturally, that was enough. After the vows, as Sophia and I shared our first smile as a married couple, I caught Emily's gaze one final time. She looked hollow, haunted, and I felt, nothing but calm. Because I knew the truth. Happiness can't be stolen. Respect can't be bought. And love that's genuine, can't be replaced. Emily realized it, finally. But it was far too late. And for the first time, I was completely free. I hadn't intended to watch. I tried not to, really, but the gossip spread like wildfire, and soon it reached me. Emily's world was cracking, piece by piece, and I felt an odd mix of satisfaction and something softer. Pity, maybe. Jason leaned back in the cafe chair, shaking his head. Mark, you're going to love this. Heard from a friend. Emily's in trouble. I raised an eyebrow. Trouble? How bad? Well, Alex isn't exactly what she thought. Cheating, lying, apparently he's been seeing someone else on the side. I smirked. Figures. Jason laughed. It gets better. The high society friends she showed off to. They're starting to look down on her. Word is, she overextended herself financially to keep up with Alex. Now, she's embarrassed and alone. I felt the heat rise in my chest, not pride, not joy exactly, but a steady calm. This is natural justice, I thought. No planning necessary. You're not going to run to her and, gloat? Jason asked cautiously. No, I said. That's the old me. Today, I just observe. Let life show her the consequences. The next day, I was walking to the office when I heard murmurs behind me. Did you hear about Emily? Yeah, Alex dumped her, she had no idea, totally blindsided. She's been asking everyone for help, but everyone's tired of her drama. I kept walking, pretending not to hear, but a small smile tugged at my lips. I wasn't reveling in cruelty. I was witnessing reality, the natural outcome of choices. Later, lunch with colleagues gave me more insight. I ran into Emily yesterday, one friend said. She looked different. Tired. Scared. Like she realized she miscalculated. She thought wealth and status could buy happiness, I murmured to myself. And she was wrong. Jason leaned over, whispering. You okay? You sound, almost, sad. Not sad, I corrected him quietly. Reflective. I just remember how lost she was before. And maybe I feel a little pity for her. But mostly, relief. I didn't have to stoop to bring her down. Life did it for me. The next week was a cascade of revelations. Alex's arrogance caught up to him, business scandals, affairs revealed, colleagues turning against him. And Emily? She tried desperately to cling to her image, but everyone saw the cracks. I overheard a conversation while grabbing coffee. Two women whispered behind me. She was so confident, now. It's like she's vanished. I heard Alex humiliated her in front of everyone. Unbelievable. And all that money she borrowed to impress him? She's ruined. I let the words wash over me. I didn't feel glee. Just confirmation. The betrayal, the pain she caused me, had naturally turned back on her. That evening, I ran into Emily outside a boutique. She froze when she saw me. Her hair, once perfectly styled, hung limp. Her designer bag looked cheap compared to before. Mark, she began, voice shaking. Emily, I said softly, calm. It's been a while. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything, I interrupted gently. I've moved on. And I hope you find a way to do the same. Her eyes welled up. I didn't realize. I thought. Alex would, he. Life has a way of teaching lessons, I said quietly. I don't need to punish you. Reality is doing that already. She looked down, tears spilling freely. I never wanted. I didn't understand. You didn't understand because you were never focused on understanding anyone but yourself, I said softly. I hope you learn that before it's too late. Emily nodded shakily. I see now. I made a mistake. You did, I agreed, voice even. But mistakes aren't permanent. How you respond to them is what defines you. She bit her lip, trying to speak again, but no words came. Alex's betrayal, her isolation, the whispers she could hear from neighbors and friends, all of it weighed on her like a physical burden. I felt a twinge of sadness for her, despite everything. I won't lie, Emily, it hurts to see you like this. But it hurts less than the betrayal you caused me. She looked up at me, vulnerability stark and raw. I don't know how to fix this. I feel hollow. I can't fix your life for you, I said honestly. That's yours to rebuild. But know this, you taught me one thing. What's that? She whispered, voice trembling. That strength doesn't come from someone else's love or approval, I said. It comes from within. From facing pain, betrayal, and still choosing yourself. Emily's shoulders sagged. I envy you. I don't want your envy, I said quietly. I want your reflection. Learn from this. Grow from this. Don't waste the rest of your life chasing things that don't matter. Her lips quivered, a nod barely perceptible. I will try. I walked away, chest lighter than it had been in years. Jason called my phone as I rounded the corner. Done? He asked, voice teasing. Done, I said. She's facing reality, Alex is exposed, and I'm free. Truly free. Jason laughed. Feels good, doesn't it? I smiled, glancing back only once, seeing Emily shrink in the distance, facing consequences she couldn't avoid. It does. Feels better than I imagined. Because for the first time, I understood, justice doesn't always need force. Sometimes, life itself delivers the final blow. And I didn't have to lift a finger. I sat on the balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly below, and felt something I hadn't felt in years, peace. Sophia leaned against my shoulder, her warmth grounding me. You look different, she said softly. Calmer. Stronger. I admitted, letting out a slow breath. I never thought I'd reach this point. But here I am. And it feels real. She smiled, tilting her head. Do you ever think about her? I stiffened slightly but then relaxed. Emily? Sometimes. But it's different now. It's not anger, not obsession. It's reflection. Seeing her mistakes reminded me of my worth. Sophia nodded. I'm glad you found that. And you deserve this, deserve us. Thanks, I said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I've learned a lot about love, trust, and betrayal. But mostly, about myself. I don't need someone else to define me. Jason's voice came through the phone, teasing as always. So, balcony contemplations now, huh? When did Mark turn into a philosopher? I chuckled. Some things take time, Jason. You'd understand if you ever had to rebuild from scratch. Touché, he laughed. But seriously, seeing you happy, it's worth everything you went through. You've grown, man. Really grown. Thanks, I said again, a smile tugging at my lips. I couldn't have done it without Sophia, honestly. There was a pause, and then Jason said cautiously, You sure you're past Emily? I mean, she might try something. I leaned back, staring at the night sky. She did try, actually. What do you mean? She sent a message today. Something like, I'm sorry. Can we talk? I made mistakes. Jason whistled. Whoa. Classic. What did you do? I read it. And deleted it. I said it firmly, feeling a surge of empowerment. Closure isn't revenge. I don't need to drag her into my life to feel complete. That's her path to redemption, or not. Jason laughed. Damn, Mark. I don't know if I should congratulate you or cry a little. That's impressive. I'll take both, I said, smiling. It feels good to know I'm not trapped by the past anymore. I can finally move forward. Sophia's hand found mine. And we will move forward. Together. I squeezed it. Yes. Together. Later, over dinner with friends, conversation inevitably turned to Emily and Alex. I heard Emily's still trying to fix things, one colleague said. But Alex, he's totally exposed now. Business scandals, lies, she's paying for her choices. I nodded quietly. Life has a way of teaching lessons. And she's changed, someone asked. I shrugged. Maybe. But that's not my responsibility anymore. I've learned that letting go doesn't mean forgetting, it means choosing peace. Sophia leaned in, whispering, You've done that so well, Mark. I smiled, feeling the weight of past heartbreak lifting. I have. And it feels freeing. That night, Sophia and I walked through the quiet streets, hand in hand. You know, she said, glancing at me, I used to worry I'd never live up to the past in your life. But I see now, you're not the same man who was hurt before. And neither am I. We're building something real. You are real, I said simply. And being with you, makes me whole in ways I didn't think possible. She laughed softly. Cheesy, but I like it. Cheesy, yes. True, absolutely, I said. Days turned into weeks. Emily tried one more time to contact me, an email, carefully worded, almost pleading. I opened it, read a few lines, and felt a pang of empathy but no weakness. I'm sorry, she wrote. I realize now how selfish I was. I hurt you in ways I can't undo. Can we? I don't know, talk. I stared at the screen for a long moment. And then I closed the laptop. No, I whispered to myself. No. This chapter is closed. Later, Sophia joined me on the couch, noticing the calm expression on my face. Everything okay? She asked. Better than okay, I said. I've let go. Truly. No bitterness, no revenge. Just, peace. She smiled and rested her head on my shoulder. I liked the sound of that. I kissed the top of her head. I liked the feeling of it more. Jason called again that evening, his voice teasing. So, Mark, you're officially untouchable, huh? Emily can't even text you without getting ghosted. Untouchable in every way that matters, I said firmly. I've survived heartbreak, betrayal, and deceit. I'm not just back to normal, I'm stronger, wiser, and happy. And Sophia, she's my future. Jason laughed, but I could hear pride in his tone. Damn, man. I knew you'd make it. You deserved this. Thanks, I said, smiling at the ceiling. I finally understand what it means to truly move on. To forgive, not for them, but for me. Sophia curled closer. That's beautiful, Mark. And I'm here, every step of the way. I held her tightly, letting the warmth and certainty wash over me. And I'm here, with you. No shadows of the past, no lingering doubts. Just, us. The next morning, I walked through the park, reflecting on everything. Betrayal, heartbreak, despair, each had shaped me, yes, but none had destroyed me. I thought of Emily and Alex, their choices and consequences. And I felt nothing but quiet compassion, tempered with the knowledge that I didn't need them. A child ran past, laughing, and I smiled genuinely. Life was unfolding, beautiful and unpredictable. I had learned resilience, the value of self-worth, and the strength of real love. Sophia's hand in mine was the proof that I had survived, and thrived. Jason's words echoed in my mind, you've grown, man. Really grown. Yes. I had grown. And now, I was ready for every new sunrise, every laugh, every challenge, knowing I could face it all with my head held high. Because I had survived the worst. I had forgiven without bitterness. I had loved and been loved truly. And for the first time in my life, I felt entirely, irrevocably free.